G'day, and welcome to Say It With Guitars. I'm your host, Pete Cornelius. Each episode, I'll be digging deep and getting to hang with some of Australia's finest guitar pickers, songwriters, producers, collectors, and makers. I look forward to bringing you these fun conversations, and I hope you enjoy Say It With Guitars.
G'day there, guys. Hope you're doing good. All is well in my camp. Yeah, gigs are good. I'm looking forward to playing this weekend, folks. With fellow podcast guest Josh Cunningham, doing some shows around Tassie with his partner in crime, Felicity Urquhart, and also fellow podcast guest Matt Fell. He's going to be joining us too. So it's going to be a bunch of fun, folks. Also, I haven't actually given out a good, proper thank you and shout out to podcast sponsor Billy Tarrant since put that guitar together for me, that beautiful King Billy Pine custom sort of design that we both spent hours deliberating ideas, and gave us an excuse to troll Instagram for really cool looking guitars for inspiration. Anyway, the guitar is a masterpiece. It sounds incredible and looks, to die for. It's going to last the test of time. And I really appreciate Billy's efforts and love for the craft. Yeah, legend, mate. Thank you very much. So today's guest, folks, is Brett Wood. Brett's a great guitar player from Melbourne, and he's recently brought out a couple of singles, which they're in the chat today. So yeah, enjoy. Before we crack into today's show, I'd love to shout out to our Season 4 sponsors, Tarrant Guitars and Top Shelf Guitars, the custom workshop of award-winning luthier Billy Tarrant on the northwest coast of Tasmania. Uses locally and internationally sourced solid tone woods to create a wide range of custom guitars, including acoustic, electric, lap steel guitars and specialty instruments, showcasing his passion for superior tone and structural integrity. Tassie's one-stop custom workshop for custom-made guitars, all guitar repairs and services. Check out tarrantguitars.net.au. Top Shelf Instruments specialises in used and vintage guitars, pedals and amps, shipping worldwide from Hobart, Tasmania, Australia. We love helping players land exceptional instruments for manageable dollars, and guitars from Japan hold a special place in our hearts. New old guitars hit the website almost daily, so head on over to the website for this week's weird and wonderful offerings, topshelfinstruments.com.au. Good. All right, I'd like to welcome today to Say It With Guitars podcast, Brett Wood. Brett.
Thanks for having me, mate.
No worries. Thanks for having me in your hotel room. I know that's music takes you many places, and I haven't had a podcast chat in someone else's hotel room yet, so
you're welcome, mate.
Thanks for having me in.
No worries.
How's the run, mate? You've been doing a few shows so far with Pete. Mm-hmm. Not only playing in his band, well, wouldn't call a duo a band, not quite.
No, not quite. We're missing a few pieces, yeah.
But you've done a few shows in New Zealand, played in Hobart last night.
Yeah, that was fun.
How's the run been?
New Zealand was amazing, yeah. It's been good so far. I think we're about 10 or 11 shows in, I think. Somewhere around there. No, it's been great. The first part of the run I was battling what ended up turning out to be pneumonia. So
no.
I think I caught something of some kind of bug off Pete where we played the AFL, the Anzac Day game. He wasn't well.
Right.
And then it sort of spawned over to, because we rehearsed that day for the tour. And then, so I picked up a bit of a bug and sort of soldiered through, but it was still great. Like, the people in New Zealand were incredible. I think there's something about roots-based music or bluesy style music in New Zealand that just resonates. They seem to really respond. It was cool.
Yeah. I think we can learn a lot from New Zealand in many, many ways. They do a lot of stuff really well, and I think they're really in touch with the cultural connections and stuff
Spiritual
like that. Spiritual stuff.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a good spirit in that country. I loved it. It was great. And it's scary too, man, because going up on stage playing, a fully original set to people that you know, or just the music hasn't come out yet. You know, there's only one single. It's kind of daunting. You're kind of getting up there each night going, well, these are the songs.
Yeah. Well, I suppose it's kind of, I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud.
Sure.
I suppose it's kind of a good thing you haven't really, like, you're obviously a very established guitar player, but I mean, like, as a solo artist, you're sort of...
Very new.
You're very new. So I guess if you're going in there to a full room of people and people haven't got expectations, they don't really, you know, they're there to see Pete.
Of course, yeah, absolutely.
So I guess the pressure, I don't know, for me mentally, it would be off a little bit, I think, because you've kind of got a bit more, I don't know, up your sleeve in terms of...
Nobody's expecting anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I know. I think I can recognise what you're talking about just on a very real level. Like last night, or the last couple of nights, Rachel, for him, that hasn't been doing the main tour spot. So I've been tour support. I've been doing the opening slot.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, in some ways even less pressure. So when she's unable to make some of the shows for whatever reason, I'll go up into the spot right before Pete.
Yep.
And then you've got more people, you know, there's more people in seats at that point in time, and I guess they're sort of ready and waiting for the warm-up act, you know. And so there's a tiny bit more responsibility, and maybe one extra song or two extra songs that I sneak into the set.
Yep.
But yeah, there is a little bit of a I don't know, what would you call it, like an underdog? It's like nobody expects you to win, so it's like, just shoot it from the hip.
That's right. Yeah, but it'd be a great way also to, you know, propel your solo career as well, like, because you are playing to pack rooms, even, you know. Yeah. And if you can sit on the merch desk at the end of the night going, hey, you know, like, sign some stuff or whatever, and hey, come follow my Facebook or Insta and
all
stuff.
of that stuff. Yeah, it's been. I mean, Pete's crowd, they're such good people.
Yeah.
I'm really lucky that that's the people that I've been playing to as a professional musician for 20 years.
Yeah.
And it's and I think there's a nice little connect there too for them, because I mentioned it during my set that I've been there. Yeah. And it's funny because some people know and a lot of other people don't, and you can hear the room go, oh, you can actually hear this little collective. Oh, that's the...
I remember, I saw him, yeah.
So there's this kind of little dot connect that seems to be happening, which is really nice. And then I think that opens them up to going, oh, so we already know this guy.
Yeah, he's okay.
And he's all right. So he's a proven entity at some stage in our lives, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of cool. And I'm just itching to get all the other songs out, you know. It's just a process of, you know, how long do these things take, you know. I'm learning the hard way of, like, nothing happens fast in making a record.
Tell me about that. Tell me about, because you have released a single, Piece of Work.
Yeah, just like I am. A real piece of work.
A real piece of work, oh yeah.
My stomach's a real
I was wondering if it was you or the wallabies outside.
Yeah.
So yeah, the whole recording process, it's such, like, I'm wondering, because the link you sent me, it says demo in brackets after every song.
Right. Which is sort of not true, because they're just not mixed.
Right.
It was just that my manager Jai just put demo after the ones that weren't mixed.
Gotcha.
Know? So yeah, but
okay.
yeah.
So I was wondering the process, like, do you are you part of the build up? Like, do you sort of sit down with a click track and do your guitar parts and then you get a band in, or what's the process for tracking?
Yeah, for this project, it was very much that. So when I started it, there was only 2 songs. When I got hooked up with the drummer who played on 5 of the tracks was Chris Layton from Stevie Vaughan and Double Trouble.
Way.
Yeah.
Oh.
So he's on Real Piece of Work. So the people that have been messaging me on socials go, man, it sounds like Stevie Vaughan.
Yeah, Whipper.
Yeah, it's actually got Whipper on it. So
amazing.
And
how did you just flick him an email one day and go, hey, I got some tracks?
It was a little bit like
drums.
Yeah. You got a set of drums hand. Well, it actually came through a friend, a mate of mine, Mark Brunot, who'd been booking me for years to do, cover gigs around Melbourne.
Right.
And he's a dear mate, one of my best friends, and he had a dot connect through. A guy another guy in Austin who reached out and said, do you know anyone in Australia that might be interested in buying the snare drum that was played on Texas Flood on that record? And I was like, and so when Mark mentioned that to me, I was like, we were in lockdown, right? And I'm going, I won't be able to afford that. And he apparently he only wanted, I think it was somewhere around $1,500 for it. And
do you know what it was?
Yeah.
Was it a Tama?
Oh, you know what? I never found that out. I've got to ask him.
Right.
I'm
pretty sure he played Tamas, right?
Yeah. But whether or not it was a Tama on that record, I don't know. I'd have to ask him. But apparently it had a cutout inside the snare drum of half of Stevie's pillow from their touring van. Because when they got to the session at Jackson Brown's joint, the snare was too ringy or it was too loud or there's something going on. And so they took one of the heads off and cut Stevie's pillow in half and dulled down the snare drum.
So there's DNA of Stevie.
Apparently, maybe one of his hairs or some sweat, exactly.
Skin follicles.
Yeah, maybe it might have still smelled a bit like cigarettes, who knows. But
wow.
I just felt so awkward about buying it. I really wanted to buy it, but I just felt uneasy about it. So I shot a message back through the chain saying, yes, there is a guy in Melbourne who's a super fan and would love to buy it, but doesn't feel comfortable, would much rather give you whatever money you need to play on a couple songs. And so I just sort of threw a line in the water and just to see what would come back. And the next day, my mate actually said, just send me a little clip of you playing or a video, and I record a video of you playing one of your songs or something, so that he knows that it's legit, or at least that it's a proper
of a certain
play.
standard.
And then the next day I got an email from Whipper saying, hey man, it's Whipper. I hear you need some drums. Who is this? And I think my initial conversation with him was about, he called a couple of hours later. I shot him a little explanation as to a little bit of my life and what I do as a musician. But I said, you won't be able to look me up or scout me online because I don't have socials. I didn't have Instagram back then. I didn't have Facebook. I had nothing, you know. But I just said that I'm a huge fan and I would really hate for that drum to get sold to somebody. I would much rather you keep it in the family, you know, or put it next to some of Stevie's stuff in a display, you know. And then he said, we talked on the phone for about, I don't know, it must have been about 45 minutes. He loves a chat, which suits me.
Yeah.
And he rang. He rang. I gave him my number and he called and said, hey, man, it's fucking Whipper. I'm like, no shit.
Wow.
It was crazy, dude.
That's great.
Yeah.
What a wild circle to come around to that. And I really, that gesture that you announced, saying that you'd rather the snare stay within the family.
Yeah.
I think that's a really nice gesture, and he probably would have, noted that as well. When okay, this guy is not just after material things. He's chasing a bit more than that. So that's
maybe that's
nice.
so. Yeah, I never really. It is. Yeah, I just didn't feel right, man. It was. Yeah. So, and he was like, well, after we talked for a while, and it might have just been him scoping me out as a person a little bit as well on the chat. He just said, well, send me your songs, man, and if I'm into it, I'll do it. And he kind of made a point of saying, I'm getting older and I've had my career, and it's not that he's not working anymore. He still plays with Kenny Wayne Shepherd and does the Hendrix tours and stuff, the Experience Hendrix tours, and I think they still do Archangel shows here and there. So he's the Jungle Show with Billy Gibbons and Sue Foley, Jimmy Vaughan.
Right.
So he's still active as a player, but he was more so kind of making the point of saying, I don't really have to do any more recordings if I don't feel like it. So it was a nice way to sort of soften me up just in case it was a no.
Yeah.
And then I sent him, I had 2 songs already kind of demoed at the time, and then I frantically wrote 3 more in about 2 days or 2.5 days. I thought, while I've got him on the line, I just quickly wrote a couple more and sent him through, and felt like I was kind of pulling a pin out of a grenade. I was like waiting for the email to come back. And then he doesn't mix his words too much, even though he's a wicked guy to talk to, and all that stuff. His email response was just, cool tunes, Brett.
Easy.
And I'm
so good.
I thought, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
I'll take that. Maybe that's going to be a yes. And and then he listened to them pretty detailed. Like he doesn't have a studio at home, so he said, look, he was such a gentleman about it. He knew a guy named Chris Bell, who's mixed. He's a great mixing engineer and a recording engineer in his own right. He's mixed a bunch of Eagles stuff and Don Henley stuff and Kenny Wayne Shepherd. And anyway, he knew that Chris had just set up a studio at his house where he hadn't tried out the new live room, and would be potentially looking for a project where he could quickly set up some drums and some mics and track some stuff.
Yeah.
So that was really nice that he knew that there was like a nice little affordable way in, because Chris was like really was quite nice about it, and didn't cost too much money. And but anyway, Whipper took about a good couple of months or so listening to the stuff, and probably, he would message me every week pretty much. Hey man, I just sat down with Eyes, or I just sat down with this. And he'd be like, what do you want me to do in the intro of that song? And we'd have a little discussion, and
wow,
you'd laugh your ass off. I had played drums really poorly at home on my songs as I did.
I was going to ask, were there any drums at all on the
some
tracks?
Guides, and I said, are you sure you want to? Send me your guides, man. And I'm like, okay, and he goes, and he was really gracious about it. He was like, no, I think what you played is kind of the right thing. And I'm like, wow, dude, I don't think it was. He smashed it out of the park. It was better than I even imagined, Yeah. And my favourite thing about it was, I remember when he sent the tracks, he said, well, listen to them for a few days and call me back and make sure you're happy and everything. And he was really cool about it. But I remember driving, I think with my partner Carla, we were driving up to a gig somewhere, up the Hume Freeway, and I'd quickly just bounced them all into my sessions, like his new drums. And so terribly mixed, but popped them on in the car, and I was like, oh my God, that's him. I can hear him. I recognise it. I know that sound. And you could put on Instep, and you could put on Soul to Soul, and you could put on Texas Flood, and various different recording techniques were used on the drums, but you hear the dude.
Yes.
And I'm like, man, that's that dude. And then Carla said this really cool thing. She goes, it sounds like he's having fun. And I'm like, isn't that cool?
That's great.
It'll only get worse, real piece of work. Yeah, real piece of work. Throw some pain on the hurt. Make it a real piece of work. Feel myself turning black and blue. Beating for all I'm worth. Changing comes with a scratch or two. You should know I'm breaking the curse. Real piece of work. Yeah, real piece of work. Rub my face in the dirt. Make it a real piece of work.
It's so cool that translates through the tracks too. He's not just like, setting up, quickly smashing them out, like having those conversations with you going, what do you think about this little idea or this part? Maybe we should do this. Like, it sounds like he's really in it for the right reasons. He's not just like
He treated
smashing out some session drums and like waiting for the paycheck. He's
right on, man.
He's treating it like his legacy, you know?
You said it. Yeah, you definitely, you're right. By the time he got into the studio, I'd been able to fiddle around and do a couple of adaptations to 2 or 3 of the 5 songs that he played on. And he kind of called me up and almost made a big brother producer move.
Yeah.
And said, look, man, I don't want to tell you how to make your record, but he said, if it's okay with you, do you still have the stems from the first versions you sent me? And I said, yeah, I think so. I'm pretty bad at all of the housekeeping with my recordings, but I should have those sessions, I think.
Yeah.
And he said, well, I don't want to tell you what to do, but he said, if I'm being honest, he said, I can see where you're taking them and I can see what you're doing, but I felt like the other ones were more real.
Wow.
And he said, if I'm being honest with you, I'm kind of only, and I think he even pulled the age and experience card and said, look, man, I'm 64. I'm really not interested in playing on anything unless it feels real to me.
Yeah.
And that was really special because it was also a tiny bit frustrating at the time because I'd
put time and energy into
and the arrangements,
stems.
and I thought, you know what, as long as I can capture his fire, if I need to move anything around and put a verse here or a verse there, as long as I can capture his energy, then I'll be cool.
Yeah.
And as it happened, I didn't actually end up doing that anyway. I just rolled with how he played and made the tracks work around him. So
wow, okay, so you didn't manipulate any time arrangement ideas, you just sort of went
that's the performance. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he definitely threw me a that was a big favour. He didn't have to do that, but he was also coming at it from the aspect of, well, if I'm going to play on this, I want to play on what I believe in.
Yeah.
So I'd rather play on that if that's okay, which was a big call.
It is. Yeah, for someone who has no relationship or other commitment to the songs, like he could have said no and just went on with his day.
That's what I was expecting, Horace. I was kind of half expecting that to happen.
So for him to not only show interest in his performance, but into your, sound or arrangement or, like you said, like the producer sort of hat, I think that's nifty. That to me shows he's just in it for the right reasons. That's great. And he's not afraid to explain why or how he's feeling about that track or whatever. And especially if you are doing your own guitar stuff, I know it's so easy to just keep building on what you think is a better thing for the song. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that original spark, sometimes the demo pisses all over the
final
track.
So true, man. We get lost in our own indecision or what we think is a better move or a better decision. It's so true.
Yeah.
So I'm super grateful to have.
Oh, that's cool.
Have a little piece of his spirit on my first record. It's kind of
Yeah, right.
Pinch me,
I'll look out for the next one. You have to try and
Yeah. Yeah, he's on the next one. He's on the second single. Yeah, Wrong Time.
Great.
Yeah, we're getting to the final stages of mix and master for that now.
Cool.
Which is cool. Yeah, and I'm hoping he digs it. When I finally sent him the finished version of Real Piece of Work, he was stoked. He sounded like he was really happy with it.
Cool.
And so I'm hopefully going to capture him in some kind of, bottle some of the memories of it, because there were so many cool things. Like when he was just getting used to the songs, he said, "Hey man, you kind of remind me of Doyle Bramhall." And I'm like, "Oh really?" And he's like, "Yeah, you play a little like him and you sound like him when you
senior
sing."
or junior.
And that's what I said. I said the same thing, bro. And he goes, "No, the second." And I'm like, "Yeah, right." I said, I love Doyle Senior as much as I love the second. I'm into both of them. And he said, "Yeah, right on." And he said, "Well, I saw Doyle at dinner last night. And I played him your songs." And I'm like, and I said, "Sorry, say that again?" And he said, "Yeah, I caught him at a restaurant." And I said, "You got to come and hear this." And so he pulled him away from his fam and took him out the front and played him something on the phone. And I was like, "Oh, dude, what songs did you play him?" And he goes, "Oh, I can't remember the names of them yet."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh man, okay, cool." And I was like, "Wow, I was like, yeah," and I was tripping out, and I was like, "What do I say now?" I was like, "Man, that's heavy." And he goes, I said, oh, that's right. I said, can you remember which song? And he goes, I don't know the names. And then I said, well, what did he say? And he goes, yeah, I'll tell you what he said. Are you ready? And I was like, yeah. And I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be bad. And he said, well, that's a vibe. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's cool.
Great.
And I think it was just me on a dobro that I'd sent over.
Okay.
This was on the early, when I crammed to write the extra 3 songs.
Yeah.
So he might have played in one of the band demos that I had, or I don't know. And then apparently Doyle asked him to, I don't want to speak for anybody or anything, but apparently Doyle, I think he assumed, because they have a songwriting clique in their world, with the Archangels, I think there's a few people that submit songs. And I think Doyle might have heard it and thought, oh, that's a cool thing. I could probably take that and do something with that. And he was like, send me the track and I'll finish it off. I'll write something, we'll make it work. And Whipper had to go, no, it's this guy from Melbourne, Australia, and I'm going to play on his record. And it was like, oh, okay, never mind,
Yeah, right.
And I said to him, bro, if Doyle wants to record one of my songs,
yeah.
that would be fine with me.
Yeah, we can make that work. I'll talk to my people. Yeah.
Yeah, right, yeah. The inner voices in my head.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing, dude.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I was stoked. It was a nice little tyre pump up for me to keep going with it. It was like, oh, maybe I should finish this.
Yeah. I was going to say, it does sound like Austin. When I heard the songs, I gave it a few really good listens, and I'm hearing a lot of Austin.
Oh, man. Well, thanks for listening, man.
Like you said, both senior and junior Doyles.
Yeah.
Denny Friedman.
Yeah, I love Denny, from the Cobras.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And
Derek O'Brien is another
Derek
Austin.
O'Brien.
Yeah, and I mean, Albert Collins is an Austin guy. And
that's right. Even Mark Benno, have you heard much?
Yeah, I have,
Yeah, because Doyle played a lot on his records.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's some cool stuff.
Yeah, so something in the water there, man, or something in the dirt, or maybe it's all of it.
Yeah.
But I remember being in Austin years ago with my then wife. We went to America on our honeymoon, and she wanted to do Disney and all the cool stuff, and my Disneyland was, let's go to Austin, Texas.
Like Antone's.
Yeah, and we happened to, we go, I think it was a Monday night, we were at Antone's and there was no one else in there. It was just us, and Derek O'Brien was just tearing the place apart.
Yeah. And
I was like banging the table and woo, just having a couple of beers and having the best time of my life.
Great.
And and I'm sure he thought, who is this crazy guy?
Yeah.
But he sounded so good on that ice. I don't know if it's a 57 Strat that he's got, or it almost looks like it's, been smoked to oblivion.
Yes.
But it's, he sounds, it's so bizarre because he doesn't retune his guitar, but he sounds a lot like Albert Collins. Like
right.
I find him to be one of the...
Yeah, I can hear that.
Yeah. And what else? That's right. So, and I saw Gary Clark Jr. the next night, like on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Somewhere is it Colonial, or was it the Continental?
Continental, right.
It's not there anymore.
Strip, whatever. Yeah.
And and my wife at the time had walked past the front of it to go and get some coffees or something, and she said, "Hey, is Chris Layton? That's the drummer from Stevie Ray Vaughan's band?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she said, "Well, he's guesting with a band at the Continental tonight." So he was playing drums on this Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, I didn't know who it was. I remembered hearing his name that night when they introduced him, but it was Gary Clark Jr.
What was the period? Like, what year was this?
This is about 2009, I think.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
So he wasn't who he is now, obviously.
No, he hadn't launched.
Because it was that Crossroads concert really that kind of projected him into stardom.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely, yeah. That was the ticket for him. So I'd never heard of him before, and he was loud and good, and he didn't sing as much that night. There was another guy on piano. They played a lot of Bill Withers tunes, which I love, because I love Bill Withers. Yeah. Played a heap of Bill Withers, and this guy played Rhodes and sang all night. And I remember Whipper came in with all of his drums over his shoulder in bags. Like he looked like like he was moving house. And we watched him set up his drums and get a cup of tea from behind the bar, and then the band came in and they played, and I remember every song that ended, Whipper would kind of look at everybody and kind of do a little tag on a figure as they were playing the groove, and he'd do it to the keyboard player, and the next round he'd do it to the bass player, and the next round he'd look at Gary and then on the fourth one it'd be ba-boom, and there's the ending. And I thought, what a cool trick, you know. And
he's setting it all up.
Like setting the ending up, because they don't normally play together, right? So he was like, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, you're going to follow me for this one.
Yeah.
My name's on the guest list.
Exactly. So, yeah, and it was a band called Frogleg, if anyone's interested. Right. It was, Frogleg featuring Chris Whipper-Layton.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I'd met him years ago as well. I did a show not far from Austin with a band or a guy called Big Sugar.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just trying to think of his name. He's a Canadian dude who spent a lot of time in Austin.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name, but he calls himself Big Sugar. I think I saw him on one of those Austin City Limits concerts. It was like a Double Trouble and Friends.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, cool.
Concerts. So I remember seeing him as a kid, and then...
That's awesome.
I got to do this gig with him, and... Yeah, we, shook hands and had photos and all that sort of stuff after the show.
Yeah, wicked, man. That's so cool.
And I think we did a support slot. Well, it might have been a band after us, and then they were on. But regardless of all that stuff, it was so cool to see these people you've been, idolising your whole life, and then you get to, in the flesh, in real time, you get to interact with them.
Yeah, and he played good that day?
Played great.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I in the small club that I saw him in, my brain was... exploded going, man, this guy is a heck of a drummer. And I already knew, but when you're watching live at the Elmo Combo or live at Austin City Limits with Stevie Ray and Double Trouble, you're so kind of enamoured with Stevie and you forget how amazing the supporting cast is. Yeah. And almost like...
but it's like that thing, if it's so good you don't notice it, like if you're playing with someone.
So true.
And it's just like a breeze, you go, oh, that was really great. It must have been... easy, but if something wasn't quite gelling or something was a bit off, you'd pick it up in a heartbeat.
Absolutely, dude.
So I think that's where Tommy and Chris fit into that. If it wasn't them, you'd notice it and it'd be a bit shit.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, and you can kind of hear that difference too sometimes in there's some great performances Stevie did on TV shows where the backing band they're stellar players. But it's so different.
It's a TV band, it's not the trio,
Yeah, there's a different source in it or something. It's it's just not the same. But I remember thinking, at that time, I was probably 29 years old and I'd been lucky enough to work in Melbourne with some great drummers like Kevin Murphy and, who was in Tommy Emmanuel's band and Jerry Pantazis and all these other cats. And I'm leaving names out, but one of my best mates, Marcus Ryan, is one of the coolest drummers I know. And so I had gotten a little bit of experience around Melbourne with cats that I was really happy and rapt to play music with and go, man, how good are these guys? Yeah. And I was like, oh, he's one of them. He's heavy, Whipper's heavy. Because the grooves were so good. And I instantly remember thinking, oh, my drummer mates would love this guy, you know.
I can't wait to share this with everyone else. And they're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're like, he's great. Yeah. But and it's cool too, because a couple of the guys that are playing on some of the other songs on my record have heard what Whipper did on the other songs, and they've been fanboying and geeking out and going, oh man, listen to what he did there, and listen, it's like, oh, that's cool,
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's great. I love this guitar podcast when you're talking about drummers. I love it.
Yeah, sorry, dude.
No, not at all.
We've gone off the tracks.
Yeah, well, the algorithm's just going to, go crazy. All these angry guitarists, throwing stuff at their devices.
Don't need one more. Fixing to roll my sleeve, but I just can't remember what for. Only half the truth told. You can feel it grow. I need eyes in the back of my head. I need eyes in the back of my head. Snakes will be silent as they crawl in your bed. I need
Well, getting back to that earlier thing that you talked about with playing to the click track and then playing, then putting guitars down, and that's kind of all he wanted as a drummer. He just said, I just need to play to your guitar, like your rhythm.
Yeah.
And he said, just get me the click, and he goes, your vocal doesn't even have to be a finished vocal. Just get me whatever you can, and I'll play to that. And there is there's a trade-off that the hardest thing I found as a guitar player is after the fact to have to go back in and replace guitars that he'd played drums to, because some of those guitar tracks weren't finished recordings, like they weren't properly captured or whatever, and they couldn't go through to mix.
Yeah.
And that was one of the trickiest things I've ever had to do in my guitar playing life, is to make it feel like a band in the room.
Yeah.
When we actually weren't. We did have a lot of connectivity when we were doing it, but it was still via correspondence. So tricky as a guitar player to line all of that up and make it feel exciting and real.
Yeah, it's always a challenge, isn't it? That building up from that foundation of creating a track and a vibe.
Do you do it that way sometimes too?
My last record was kind of like that, yeah. Pretty much acoustic and a guide, and we built things up from the drums. So drums would go down first, and then everything else comes back in. That.
Yeah, that's how I've done it too.
The drums are the key, really. Like they are the glue that's going to hold everything together.
Right on, man.
The drums can't play to other instruments really as successfully as the other way around, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great sounding record. You did a great job, because it's a tricky way to do it, isn't it?
Yeah. I think you really need to have a future perspective of where you want the song to be, and think backwards. Okay, cool. So let's put maybe a guy, like a guitar down to the drums, that is going to be like a consistent track that's going to play the whole song. It's not just going to be a part in and out, or maybe an acoustic.
Something that drives the intention of the track.
Yeah. Not just the
exactly.
colour that's going to stop and start. And
Yep.
yeah, I think, and then it becomes a bit more clear as to the other parts, what needs to happen, and sounds and stuff. So how do you go? Like, because there's, from what I can tell, there might be some in there buried, but there's no keys on the record, right?
No, there might be on a couple of tracks that might not have been on the SoundCloud links that you got, but
right.
But yeah, like on Time I Run, Richard Tankin played some keys for me, which was kind of a nice present and a surprise through my mate Marcus Ryan, who played drums on that track. He goes, I got Richard to put some keys down because he heard it, and I was like, dude, awesome.
Yeah. But I was going to say, because that texture isn't in there, you've kind of made up for it in other ways with your guitar sounds, I find.
Yep.
Like there's when I say a lot, I think I really like the Leslie guitar.
Yeah, man.
I think it's just like the best.
Me too.
So that kind of like Hammond tick, you don't need that anymore. Some of the tremolo guitars, like you don't need a Whirly or a Rhodes tick, like that's... So you've got a lot of those motion kind of modulation sounds in there.
Yeah, there's a few swirly ones.
Which gives you that texture of keys, I think.
Excuse me, yeah. Yeah,
so
that's
I think the only one you haven't got is the acoustic, or the piano, but you do have some acoustic guitar in there as well. So that
there's
kind
a
of
couple of jangly
almost
ones,
gets like, so it's like, all right, who needs a keyboard player? I mean, you've got all these great guitar sounds.
Well, yeah, I remember my old mate Glenn Hanna, bless him, saying funny things about having keys on records, or there was like, he's got some amazing mates in the world who are keyboard players, so it's no slight on them. But I think he was more being selfish about how much frequency the guitar could take up if there wasn't keys on the record.
Yeah.
Trying to be a little bit cheeky about, it's all guitar. And so, I think, but mine actually came out of probably just the necessity is the mother of invention. It's like, well, I've got a Leslie speaker there, I can just play through that and just trying to mimic a keyboard part if I can get away with it. And then the cool aspect of it is that, as you would well know, is that occasionally you can try to be putting on like a stabby, like a keyboard sound or a rotary sound, and then you can quickly double a guitar part and sort of thicken up a guitar line and then go back to stabbing out chords.
Yes.
So it can kind of do double duties on one side of the mix.
Yep.
And that aspect I kind of really started to enjoy. Similar to what Jimmy Vaughan would do on a Thunderbirds record. Or, you know, like.
Yep.
So, and I love, as I've grown older and gotten out of my, the Stevie phase that I went through, and I still go through, like you can put on a Stevie Ray video where he's just opening the set, and in that first 90 seconds, there'll be more info than anyone's ever figured out how to put in a Stevie lesson video.
Yeah.
There's so much depth of knowledge. But then if you go and listen to Jimmy Vaughan records, you go, I think I'm hearing, like you start to put the pieces together going, oh, Big Brother was onto some heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And there's some details in that stuff that I didn't notice when I was younger.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was trying to put on a few caps, and I got Ben Edgar, my bro, who's a wicked guitar player in Melbourne, played some on one of the tracks called Tough Way, played some
The baritone?
Baritone.
Oh, it's killer.
That's Edgar.
Great. I heard that go, that's Jimmy.
Yes.
Right there.
Sorry if that distorted. But yeah. I just said, man, get that baritone out for me and just go for it.
And especially with the Tough reference in the titles, like that's the Tough Enough album.
Yeah.
The baritone on that record.
Yeah, man.
It's so
It's just
distinctive.
badass.
It's
Yeah.
badass.
Yeah, it's
it
so
really
killer.
is.
Yeah, and I've been looking for one of those, what are they, like the violin or the Longhorn, one of those old Dan Electro
Electros,
Longhorn 6-string basses for years. And I'll never find one in left-handed. So if I'm ever able to splurge on another vintage guitar, it might be something like that.
I guess I don't think they they may have made them in left-handed. I don't know. Have you heard the guitar player Igor Prado?
No. I will now. I'll look him up.
Igor's great. He's into that kind of West Coast jump blues stuff.
Oh, cool. Yeah, right.
And he got one of those, like there's a bit of a movement that Junior Watson, I suppose, created, was playing these old Silvertones and Harmonies. I think it's an H62 model, like an Esplanada. Anyway, they never came in left-handed, but he found one.
I found him. There he is.
There he is,
Igor Prado. Yeah.
So from what I believe, he found one of these guitars and swapped the tops.
Okay.
And like reset the neck. So I was like, so he's a lefty as well.
Oh, wicked.
So he's playing with these H62s.
Yeah.
He must have modified and like put all the stuff on the other side of the body and reset the neck, and all of a sudden he's got a left-handed guitar that never would have existed.
No kidding. That's so cool. Yeah. Flippity dip.
Yeah.
That's funny, man.
So you probably do the same with the Dano if you know.
I would definitely be up for that, yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, I've got a couple of guitars at home that are righties that I've just had people flip the nut around and, you know, try and re-intonate it as best you can or whatever, or capo it, you know. But, I haven't really been buying a whole lot of guitars since I went through a vintage Strat phase. The bug bit me a few years ago, and there was a couple of opportunities that came up to purchase some old ones.
Yeah.
And... that's enough vintage Fender fun for me for a lifetime. It's just...
Oh, it's a slippery slope, man. As soon as you start looking for that stuff, your whole feed just turns into like this guitar market, and you can't escape it.
No.
It's scary.
Yeah. And it's...
I dip my toe into it here and there.
Yeah.
But just to have that money tied up into an instrument, it's insane.
Especially when it's so expensive to make music and the return on investment is so scarce now.
It is, yeah.
So, it's a weird time to be starting an original career, but it was kind of one of those things that I'd wanted to do for such a long time. Yeah. And lockdown made it possible for me, mate, because I've been very fortunate that I've had Electric Mary as a band that I play in, and I've been there 14 years and had the camaraderie with those guys and the creative outlet with those guys, and it's a totally more aggressive style of music and guitar playing. And then Pete Murray for 20 years, all of a sudden when we got locked down, you know, juggling those two projects and being as committed to them as I could, all of a sudden those commitments just went silent, and I was able to play the what if game. I sat in front of a laptop and went, what if I had a song that sort of felt a little bit like that song, but I said my own thing with it? All right.
Yeah.
And then just played Play-Doh, you know.
Great.
Yeah, it was fun, man. I had the most fun I've had playing music in such a long time, because it was literally like being on an empty play equipment, you know, like, oh, I'll put a slide there and I'll put a monkey bars there, and just felt like a kid in a candy store playing around with what-if games. And then the reality came true that I was actually going to send some of these songs to one of the guys that played on this type of music.
Yeah.
And that's why it felt like pulling a pin out of a grenade, because I'm thinking, he's just going to be like, not another one of these guys, you know.
Yeah.
And he heard something that he believed in, and I'll take that with me forever. That's like, because he could have politely said no.
Yeah.
And there's already been a bunch of people that I've had interesting interactions, out of quite a lot of interactions that I've had on a few posts on Insta. I've only had a very, very small smattering of negativity. And it's not even really that negative. It's just that people kind of hit me in certain buttons where it's like, oh, don't sound too much like Stevie Ray Vaughan and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, you know what? We're all going to die. You know, yeah, we're not here forever, you know, and like, I'm not here to try and impress any snobs.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to play what's fun.
Yeah.
And if you like it, you like it. And if it pisses you off, then go listen to something else.
That's right. Yeah, yeah, life's too short.
Life's too short, bro.
To worry about, you know, all that stuff. You just got to, like, and especially people don't realise when you make music, when you put yourself out there, there is so much going into that. And you just open yourself up for whatever comments come your way. Like, you just,
Yeah, try not to duck water off a duck's back.
Yeah.
It's easier said than done.
It is easier said than done, absolutely. Especially when we've got these devices in our pocket all day, every day. And
It's so true, man.
we can't escape them.
No, the beginning of the end.
But before we finish, I know we've got to finish up. You guys got to go and do your loading and stuff.
Yeah, no worries.
That's what you're saying about the 2020 like COVID period of like to have all that background experience with working with bands. Like that is a gift, I think, to then go, oh cool, let's go and do my own thing and let's put all my experience into this new project. Because a lot of new projects, especially if you're starting out, you're green, you don't know about a lot of industry things, or you don't know about recording things, or you don't, like, there's so much that you're learning at that really crucial part of your development. So I think if you've come at it with, like, say, almost 20 years of, or 15, 20 years of experience, like that's a pretty good head start, I suppose, in terms of knowing what you want and knowing how to get it. And just industry connections too. It's like, all right, cool. I know these guys, I'm going to send them this track.
There's definitely upsides to it, even though it feels weird starting at this point of my life, but you're not wrong. Like, my manager and I talk about how are you going to present yourself and all of that stuff, and one of his, he just had a chuckle one day and he said, well, nobody wants to hear from a 19-year-old blues artist, lyrically or whatever. Like, it's not to knock any of the young guys and girls that are out there killing it right now. But he was like, really, are you really listening to what they're talking about as a songwriter? And I was like, well, that depends. There's not many young, like, think of Jackson Browne Running on Empty, when he was like, or these days when he was 16 or 15 or something.
Wow.
It's like there's not many songwriters like that at that age.
No.
There's not a whole lot of real Bob Dylan-esque things coming out of pre-20-year-old humans, especially not now. Yeah. I mean, who am I to say? What would I know? What would I know? But that was the joke. He's like, nobody wants a life lesson from an 18-year-old blues artist. And that, but that's not what I feel. I think it's more just speaking to the point of having the fortune of going, okay, well, I got to make some records with Pete Murray, and I've been in the studio with Electric Mary, and I've played on other people's records along the way. So as you well know, that experience is something that you can't get. There's no shortcuts. Yeah, that's just life.
No matter how many reels you watch or how many YouTube tutorials, you just can't replace time. Like time and experience
Yeah.
is such a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I've got to let you go, get on down to your sound check and do this gig.
Good on you, brother.
Lovely to hang out. I know
Yeah,
we could
cheers,
have,
mate.
I would have liked to have talked about the Shannon Bourne connection. He's a fellow guest on the pod.
Yeah, oh, that's cool,
But
man.
maybe we can do a take 2 down the line.
Yeah, I'd love to, mate. Yeah, I'd love to do that. Sorry we were running a little bit late, man.
No, it's how it goes.
Yeah.
And maybe we can talk about drummers again as well.
Thanks for listening, folks, to another episode of Say It With Guitars. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to the podcast, share it around to your mates, leave a good review, and hopefully we'll see you next time.